Comes hours after health officials in the territory confirmed Israeli airstrikes have killed more than 40 people. Israel says this was in retaliation of the killing of 2 of its soldiers near Rafah in southern Gaza. Hamas has denied any knowledge of the incident. The BBC's Yolanda Nell reports.
Israel's military launched dozens of strikes after it said its troops operating in Rafah in southern Gaza were attacked by Hamas fighters, but within hours it said it had resumed enforcement of the ceasefire. Israeli media say that a decision to close aid crossings to Gaza was overturned following US pressure. Mr. Trump's special envoys Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner had already been expected in Israel. They're due to meet the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu later. The Hamas chief negotiator Khalil al-Hayya is meeting Egyptian mediators in Cairo to discuss next steps in the ceasefire deal.
Recapping the top story, one of the accused in the Senzumehiwa murder trial is expected back on the stand this morning at the High Court in Pretoria. Muzi Sibiya took to the stand last week and is the first witness to testify for the defence. For SAFM News, I am Anne Musa.
So you thought you were building a business in this economy, but day by day, somehow it grew. You kept going when the freezer didn't freeze, the bucket didn't budge, and the bank balance barely blinked. So you thought you were building a business. You weren't. It was building you. Because this isn't just what you do anymore. It's who you are. And you don't trust just anybody to protect it. Chat to your broker about Old Mutual Insure Business Insurance. Protect what built you. Old Mutual Insure Limited is a licensed FSP and non-life insurer.
This October month, SAFM joins the world in breast cancer awareness. We bring you conversations that highlight the importance of early detection, survivor stories that inspire hope, and expert advice that could save lives. Together, let's spread awareness and support the fight against breast cancer. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us.
This summer, the continent unites for the biggest football showdown in Africa. The Total Energies Africa Cup of Nations Morocco 2025 is coming to your screens, live and available on SABC TV channels, SABC Sport, SABC Plus, and across your favorite SABC radio stations. Catch all 52 thrilling matches, stand behind Bafana Bafana, and experience every goal, every cheer, and every victory from 21 December 2025 to 18 January 2026. SABC Sport brings you all the AFCON 2025 action, live and free, because it's game on everywhere.
For the love of the game.
If you think you cannot afford a lawyer, think again. Clientele Legal has made professional legal services affordable. You receive up to 745,000 rand worth of legal services per year. Our range of plans include cover for you, your spouse, children, and extended family. Plans include cover for civil, criminal, and labor-related matters. Whether it's protection orders, gender-based violence, uncontested divorce, or poor service, your Clientele Legal lawyer will be there to assist you. Our services are convenient. Simply pick up the phone and call your lawyer or send us an email and we'll get back to you. All plans include a bail benefit of up to 5,000 rand and we'll go to the police station and pay it for you. Plus, Clientele Legal offers you 24-hour telephonic legal advice. SMS SAFM to 32195. That's SAFM to 32195. Clientele General is an authorized FSP and licensed non-life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
Gender-based violence is destroying lives and tearing communities apart. It happens in homes, in schools, at workplaces, and too often in silence. But it doesn't have to continue. If you see it, speak out. If you are hurting, reach out. Because doing nothing is not an option. Listen to all 19 SABC radio stations for hard talk, discussions, advice, dramas, educational shows, and interviews around GBV with experts, survivors, lawmakers, and a whole country affected by gender-based violence. All on your favorite SABC radio station. Call 0800 428 428 to report abuse or get help. GBV, it ends with you. This message is brought to you by the SABC. The Talking Point with Kathy Motlatlana. Weekdays, 9 a.m. till midday.
Samora was a very, very strong figure. He established the mode of a president who sings and moves, not quite the traditional ANC style, but picked up and becoming part of certain ANC's leader style in Mozambique. And we were hearing about the ways he would explain things. It was revolution expressed in African terms. He would say, to know the taste of an avocado pear, you must cut it in half. It's painful. Let the contradictions come out. And then you deal with the contradictions and you end up more powerful because you've resolved them, you haven't hidden them. And there were severe contradictions in Frelimo fighting for freedom. After Eduardo Mondlane was assassinated by the Portuguese leader, but using agents inside Frelimo. It was a joy and a pleasure to hear Samora. He would sing, he would talk. It wasn't a rant, it wasn't a heavy ideological presentation. It was picking up ideas, communicating with the people.
That was Justice Albie Sachs, former judge of the Constitutional Court, and he was reflecting on the life of Mozambican politician, revolutionary, and also former first president of Mozambique, at least from the onset of the country's independence, that is Samora Machel. It was on the 19th of October that he was assassinated in 1986. And can you believe it? It's been 39 years since that horrific day, not only for the people of Mozambique, but I think for the region as a whole. You would also know that Mozambique formed part of the frontline states and was really crucial in South Africa's own struggle against apartheid. And this is the history, that we need to keep revisiting. This is the history that we must not forget, because if we don't tell these stories, there are generations of people that will grow up out of context because there's a history that we have left untold, that there are memories that we simply have not captured that allows them to carry forth what has happened in the past into the future. You're listening to The Talking Point. A very good morning to all of you that have tuned into the show. My name is Kathy Motlatlana, and I'll be with you until midday as we lead conversations that move us. It's the beginning of a brand new week. I trust you had a restful weekend and are ready to face it all this week. Yeah, I know I'm hearing lots of conversations about burnout this, end of year, burnout that. Yeah, but we've still got to keep going, guys. We've still got to keep going. We still have to get through the Matanga Commission, the ad hoc committee. We still have to host the G20. Have you noticed how the construction now in Johannesburg is on overdrive, right? It's like some people woke up and they were like, the G20 summit is almost here. So driving in Johannesburg right now and in the broader, I think in some areas of Gauteng is really it can be a bit of a nightmare if you haven't planned your route correctly and you haven't checked what the status is of the roads that you may want to use. And this rain and thunderstorms that we're expecting to experience certainly will not help the situation. So just check your route before you leave home. It might take you longer to get to where you're going. And that's just for the residents, of course, that are in Johannesburg and other parts of Gauteng that are affected. Well, this morning, we also want to take time to wish all our Hindu listeners a happy Diwali, because the Festival of Lights really is here. And of course, we know that it is a crucial moment in the calendar. And so we just want to wish all of you lots of joy, health, and endless energy, really, as you mark and commemorate this very important time in your lives. So, yeah, that is to all our Hindu listeners. Okay, so what's coming up then on the show today? It's 16 after 9 o'clock right now. What we will do is that we will take some of your calls for what we can of the open line, and then we're going to cross over to the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry, which continues to investigate allegations of criminality, political interference, and corruption in the country's justice system. Today, we're expecting that the session will be held partly in camera. So the faces that we will see are the faces of the chairperson of the commission and of the evidence leaders. The witnesses will be off camera from today until Wednesday, the 22nd. We will, however, be hearing their voices. And my understanding is that today we're going to be hearing from, or rather during this period, we're going to be hearing from investigative officers who have been working on several cases. And I guess then they will give their own perspective and experiences in relation to the allegations, right? And yeah, we'll have to wait to hear what it is that they have to say, because if there was interference, that would have trickled down to them in terms of the orders and the instructions that they were given, just outlining how they should go about doing their work. Just the thought of it is a bit, isn't it frightening that you're doing your work, you come across whatever you find, and then there's a likelihood that you're told, no, where you think you might have a lead, you're told, no, leave that alone. Don't interest yourself. Don't interest yourself in things that are none of your business. Leave that alone. Go left instead of going right. I'm not saying that is what is going to be the evidence provided today. I'm just saying that the idea of interference that would go to that extent is, of course, extremely worrying. And when you think about the fact that these officials are just ordinary rank and file members of the police, how much room do they have to really stand up to the authorities and the powers that be? It was last week when we had this conversation and you heard what Tahir Maipa said of the police union. He said sometimes the good police officers are forced to turn a blind eye. They're forced to pretend like they don't see the wrong that is happening. And that is not only for their own survival, in terms of surviving and keeping your job, but it's also for their own safety. Because they know that should they dare, they will have to deal with the repercussions of that. And that's the systemic corruption that we need to break as a country. And hopefully, all of these inquiries that are underway are going to help us in determining where it is that we will start with all of this. So we'll have the Madlanga Commission then running from 9:30, and we'll bring you those proceedings live. Until then, let's then just get part of the conversation underway. Your national round table. I'll take your calls on 086 000 2032 is the number to dial. 086 000 2032. On the WhatsApp voice note line, I'll take those text messages and voice notes on 0614 104 107. That's 0614 104 107.
Hi everyone, my name is Itumele Nkune, SABC Sport football analyst. When I feel down and I listen to gospel, it gives me motivation. I'm a person who loves all genres. If I was a chef, my favorite meal that I would prepare would be pap, cabbage, meaty bones, with a bit of acha on the side. My favorite language is Portuguese. Bom dia, como está? Estou bem. What I like about SABC Sport is they give you the platform and the permission to be yourself and speak any language.
Catch the ever-passionate Itumeleng Kune's analysis of Bola Letu on match days, live on Latuma. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
Are you a small business owner? Do you truly believe in your dream, but sometimes feel like the odds are stacked against you? Sanlam Corporate and Santam believe in you and in the power of SMMEs to grow South Africa's future. That's why they're hosting the 2025 Sanlam SMME Collective event on 21 October from 9 to 4 p.m. at the Sandton Convention Center. It's an invite-only event. To request an invite, visit sanlamonline.co.za/campaigns/SMME Collective and stand a chance to join the pitch parade, where entrepreneurs like you can present your pitch in person and get real-time expert feedback. Network, learn and be inspired. From funding and risk to AI and new markets, let's unlock growth and shape your future together. Stay tuned to SAFM for more.
With the ever-changing financial landscape, it can be difficult to make sense of all the moves at times. Join me, Jimmy Moyaha, on the SAFM Market Update with MoneyWeb, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 to 7 p.m, as we break down the key market trends, top financial stories, and smart investment insights, all in one place. It's everything you need to stay financially informed and ahead of the curve.
In fitness, as in finance, endurance is key. If you're 55 and older, you can get an interest rate of up to 10.47% with a Nedbank Electronic Optimum Plus account. Now feel the earn. Invest in under 2 minutes on the Money app and get money fit with Nedbank. See money differently. Nedbank. We're a licensed FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply. For more info, visit nedbank.co.za.
Pneumococcal disease can strike at any time, especially if you live with a chronic condition or have weakened immunity. If you're 19 and older with the chronic disease, vaccination can help protect against pneumococcal pneumonia. The risk increases for people 65 and older, and vaccination is advised to help prevent serious illness. Ask your healthcare professional about pneumococcal vaccination. Don't wait. Vaccinate. Brought to you by Pfizer.
This October month, SAFM focuses on cybersecurity awareness. As we live more of our lives online, staying safe in the digital world has never been more important. From spotting cyber threats to protecting your personal data, SAFM brings you the conversations that empower you to stay secure. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us.
Hashtag SAFM Talking Point.
All right.
Just one request, Katie. My name is Duduz from Durban. Can you please read the South African Police Services Act, Section 11 and Section 12, and further go to the South African Constitution in Section 207 and Section 208, so that we can be able to understand the powers for the formation of any units in the South African Police Services, as well as its disbandment, if we can use that word. Thanks very much, Kechi. Bye.
Good morning, Katie and SFM listeners. Katie, we seem to always focus on the negativity of immigrants. Sometimes when we have got immigrants who are abiding by the constitution and regulations to stay in South Africa. Katie, we've been raising this issue. No one is listening to us. Why is UIF refusing to process our UIF unemployment claims, yet it's sitting with surplus of millions, which include our money? they will tell you that you must bring a current work permit. Yet all permits expired in 2021. Government hasn't issued permits. So where must we get those permits? Then the Department of Labor must come and explain. And this thing of contributing to UIF was made compulsory by the Department of Labor. Now they don't want to process our UIF claims. Can you bring those guys you brought last time from UIF to explain to us? Thanks, James from Johannesburg.
Hi. So, Israel's blocking aid and killing more people in Gaza, bombing at random and continuing to siege. No surprise. In fact, why are we surprised at all? It would be against the inherent nature of Netanyahu and the Zionist movement, who repeated polls have shown the majority of Israelis support the wiping out of all Palestinians. And this is by Israeli pollsters themselves. So all the more reason for South Africa to continue with the ICJ case, all the more reason for people to continue to promote the BDS campaign against Israel.
Kathy Motlatlana on SAFM.
Yeah, in fact, I think it was one of our listeners who called into the open line last week who raised questions about how long the ceasefire would hold without having other parties as part of it, just to raise the issue of accountability, right? Because this seems to be very much a US-Israel ceasefire more than anything. And there were many others that echoed that sentiment. And I guess, a lot of people were perhaps anticipating that this could well be the result, but that it would happen as quickly as it has is probably a great disappointment, even to the US President Donald Trump, because we know how much he has riding, at least on the idea of the ceasefire, right? That it's there in form, even though the substance of it might be questionable. Anonymous, you're in Cape Town. Good morning.
Good morning to you and to the listeners. You know, I'm struggling to find peace within my heart and within my spirit and within my soul. You know, I just can't accept that a man like Christian Prinsloo did 4 years and on parole for guns that is slaughtering people day in and day out and for decades to come, many more. You know, it just shows you what's wrong within the SAPS from that in the lower levels, to put it that way. And I want South Africans to open up their eyes, and this is to Mike from Newlands also, and send it to him. They refer as corruption, the ANC government, but they forget the Agliotis, the Marcus Justus, the Mark Liftman gangsters, the Hansie Cronje, cricket saga, all those. So at the end of the day, I want to remind South Africans, I named a few names here, the Agliotis, the Marcus Justus, the Mark Liftmans, and we spoke about the Christian Prinsloo. You know, corruption is from all ends and from all sides. Even the, what's his name, Lamour, who did also prison time, was out now. It is in all sectors of our society, and I really want to hear Mike from Newlands input, what he has to say about his white brothers who's also involved in corruption in this country, and that did everlasting damage. And I want to compare the 30 years, 5 years of the ANC with the 350 years of apartheid. I grew up in apartheid as a boy in the Pero suburbs and the Goodwood and the West Coast suburbs. And I want to compare the 350 years with the 30 years of oppression. The 350 years of oppression, it caused everlasting, permanent damage within our societies. And I want South Africans to open up their eyes, and I want to hear Mike's version from the corruption from his white brothers in crime. Thank you very much.
Okay, all right. Anonymous in Cape Town. And we see that wound, right? We see that bleeding in all of these issues that we face as a society today. And it's not to sort of say one always defers to apartheid, that apartheid, you know, is an easy way out. But the reality is we cannot deny the seed of division, the seed of violence, of a fractured society that it has left us with. And that is what we continue to fight against as a people today. And unfortunately, we have not been honest about just how deeply we have been hurt as a people. There's generational hurt, generational trauma that is being carried on, right? That's being carried on. So there will be children that have been born post-democracy, and yet somehow they are exposed to the traumas of the seed of apartheid in our society. And we have to deal with that and confront it for what it is. Otherwise, future generations don't stand a chance. They don't stand a chance of being better, of doing better. All right, let's take the latest news headlines.
Good morning, I'm Anne Musa. In the headlines, civil society groups Stand Up South Africa is leading a march to the union buildings in Pretoria to demand President Cyril Ramaphosa's resignation. Marchers met at the Church Square in the CBD before embarking on their action. One of the accused in the Senzo murder trial is expected back on the stand this morning at the High Court in Pretoria. Simelane took to the stand last week and is the first witness to testify for the defence. And teacher union SATU says competition for the best matric pass rate among provinces has led to the abandonment of critical subjects like mathematics and physical science. I'll have details on these and other stories at 10.
SAFM values your views. Be an active citizen. Kathy Motlatlana on SAFM.
All right, so let me take Zola quickly in Bloom. Zola, good morning.
Good morning, Katie.
Yes, sir.
Katie, yes. Katie, I just want to comment about the minister, Senzo
Mm.
I must be honest with you that I'm very much disappointed about the manner in which he conducts himself. I'm seeing a high level of arrogance. Number one, how can you say, I am not guilty while you are giving evidence? It is for the commission to decide whether he is guilty or not.
Mm.
And again, I see him as somebody, hardly 18 months in that position, who is showing divisions within the department. Ontlantla wrote to him requesting a meeting. He wants to meet him with other generals and so on, and there's somebody from outside. If he was genuine, he would have said, why does he want to see me? And with somebody who's not part of the SAPS. Instead, he ignores him, said, I'll revert to you. He never did that. So it shows that he did not have the best interest of the department at heart to make sure that he's not showing divisions and that he built a team spirit that they work together. I can see his favorites, Ankabinde and Sibia.
Mm.
It seems as if he has a personal vendetta against Kwanazi. I'm not. That.
Okay, Zola. All right. I'm not sure what happened to Zola there. Looks like we've lost him on the line. But as we do that, I see that the commission has also started its work for the day. So let's take you live to the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. Just a reminder, the proceedings are going to be held partially in camera. I think on radio you won't really notice the difference because we are going to hear the voices of the witness give evidence. But if you're watching visually, then you will only be seeing the faces of the evidence leaders and the commissioners.
Their voices, however, will remain normal. They will not be distorted. Their names will, for the moment, be withheld. They will be disclosed in the fullness of time. So we refer to them, there are three of them, as Witness A, Witness B, and Witness C. It is accepted that those who know their voices will immediately identify them and know who they are. They believe that that is a risk that they have ways of mitigating, and they can live with the risk. It is their images that they would seek to be protected. So we appear before you here, and in terms of the ruling you made on the 16th of October 2025, with a slight amendment that in a bid to be as transparent as the commission can potentially be, to share the testimony of its witnesses with the public, that we be permitted to run the testimonies of these witnesses in this auditorium with their voices heard, not distorted, but their images not projected. We did consider whether or not this mode would be prejudicial to the purpose and the terms of the commission, and we conclude it is not, because their identities are irrelevant. What is relevant for purposes of public interest is the content of their testimony, and that will be heard in full. Any documents that must be projected on screen or that would have been projected on screen during the evidence of any witness will continue to be projected today. So to the extent that it is necessary, the projections will be made on the screen, become immediately available. When each witness has finalized their testimony, both their statement and the transcript in relation to their testimony will become immediately available with the necessary reduction to withhold their names. To the extent that it may be thought that that would be prejudicial in any manner, we do not support that contention, because those watching on national TV and hearing the testimony are in no more a beneficial position than those listening on radio. If those listening on radio are not prejudiced by not seeing the speaker and therefore able to identify the features of the witness, then we submit that even hearing their voices and their testimony on TV alone without image will not prejudice the nation and will not undermine the approach that this commission has adopted to public hearings. On that basis, Chair, we would request that the next three witnesses, witness A, witness B, and witness C, be accommodated in the fashion I have set out.
Thank you, Ms. Sillo. A ruling has already been made, but you have said that you are asking for an amendment.
To the extent necessary.
May I ask you to articulate that amendment in the form of a ruling?
We could put that together, Chair. I thought of an amendment because the current ruling speaks to in camera, and we are not in camera in the truest sense of the word, because here we are in public, where the testimony will be heard by the public as it is delivered. So that's why we say, to the extent that it is necessary to amend that ruling, then we would request that it be so amended to accommodate this current format, where the witness's voice is heard in the auditorium, in the absence of the witness who's testifying from a remote location, but without their voice distorted.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Ms. Sillo. The ruling then is that the ruling made last week is amended such that today's hearings, not only today's, in fact, the testimony of witnesses A, B, and C,
yes, Chair,
will be heard in this open session, subject to their faces not being seen, and also they will be testifying remotely.
Thank you, Chair. That's correct.
You.
Thank you. Chair.
With their names not being disclosed at this stage.
At this stage.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for the ruling, Chair. We are clarified.
Thank you.
We are ready to lead witness A, if the commissioners are ready. And witness A will soon, his voice will soon be beamed into the room, and he'll be led by Advocate Lee Sigal Ngube. Ready when you are, Chair. Thanks, Lee.
We are ready when you are. Thank you, Ms. Lolo. We are ready when you are, Ms.
Thank you, Chair.
Sigels Ngube.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Commissioners. Chair, the witness is witness A, and we have spoken to the witness. He will take the oath.
Witness A, can you hear us?
Yes, good morning, Commissioner.
Good morning to you too. Will you affirm or take the oath?
I will take the oath, Commissioner.
Do you swear that the evidence you are going to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, please raise your right hand and say, "So help me God."
So So help me God.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Witness A, should be two bundles that you have with you. The first is a smaller bundle from page 1 to 57. Do you have that bundle with you?
Yes, Commissioner, I have it.
Just a minute. Is it not possible to up the volume a bit, please?
Yes, we are trying to arrange for that, Chair.
Witness A, can you just speak again? Can you confirm that you have the bundle with you?
Yes, Commissioner, I do have the bundle with me.
Thank you. Chairperson, I want to suggest that bundle be bundle WA for witness A. And then the second bundle that you have with you should be 455 pages long. Do you have that?
That's correct. I also have that one as well.
Thank you. Chairperson, if that bundle can be an exhibit, submitted as an exhibit, which is the Katiso Molefe bail exhibit, and it is exhibit CJC4. Thank you. Witness A, can we go back to the first bundle, which is WA? Can you confirm on page 41 that that is your signature that appears there?
Correct, Commissioner. It is my signature that is appearing on page 41.
Do you confirm that this is a statement that you prepared for purposes of your evidence that you will be giving before the Commission today?
That is correct, Commissioner. I do confirm.
Witness A, can you then go to page 1 of the WA bundle, which is page 1 of your statement? Can I ask you to confirm that paragraphs 1 and 3 are correct insofar as it identifies you and your career within the South African Police Service?
Yes, Commissioner, they are correct.
Now, you say in paragraph 2 of your statement that the statement is prepared for purposes of dealing with your evidence relating to events that transpired during 2024 and this year, which are relevant to the media briefing made by Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi on the 6th of July 2025. Can you, for the benefit of the Commission, tell us what it is that your role was insofar as the South African Police Services is? What do you do within the police service?
Thank you, Commissioner. I will start by saying that I am an investigator within the SAPS, and I am currently based at Organized Crime, which is the unit that is mandated to investigate crimes that are understood to be of a certain nature, in a sense that they are sophisticated and they need a certain approach in a way that they are being committed by syndicate, the organized groups. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you. You also say in paragraph 5 of your statement, where you deal with what you refer to as the Swart murder investigation, that you are one of the investigators in that case. Can you briefly tell the Commission what the Swart murder is?
Ms. Siegel, perhaps we should place paragraph 3 on record. Remember, I know what you're doing. The statement will be handed in, but we do have a transcript. And I think we should try as best as possible to put as much information in the transcript as is safe to do.
Thank you, Commissioner. I did ask the witness to confirm the accuracy of paragraph 3 for now. Insofar as it relates to his career, do you just want me to briefly say that it does deal with his career within the police service?
In that case, I have a question that relates to paragraph 3. The witness says that he was attached to a station and thereafter the 3O task team in Soweto. What exactly does the 3O refer to?
Witness A, did you hear the question from the chair?
Yes, I got the question from the chair, Commissioner.
Can you answer the
TO
question?
task team is the team that is formed to work on the cases, specific cases that are classified as hijackings, house robberies around the area.
Okay. Perhaps witness A, just read the whole of paragraph 3 into the record.
Yes, Commissioner. I started my career in the SAPS in July 2008 at the Basic Training College. Before that, I was a reservist. After college, I was attached to a station, and thereafter, I joined the Triotas team in Soweto, which is a specialized unit focused on combating hijacking residential and business robberies. I remained in the Trio team until 2021, and in late 2021, I joined Gauteng Organized Crime, which is the unit that I'm currently in, Commissioners.
And then in the next paragraph, paragraph 4, you say your subs 96 will be made available to the commission if necessary. What's the subs 96?
The subs 96 is a document, Commissioner, that mentions what I've just said above. It mentions all the steps that I've gone through since I started in the police and the courses that I've attended and everything.
So it's an internal subs document that approximates what one could call a resume or a CV, or not?
That is correct, Commissioners.
Thank you, Chair. Witness A, we are now at paragraph 5 of your statement where you deal with the Swart murder investigation, and you say that you were one of the investigating officers. I had asked you to just briefly tell us what the Swart murder was before we deal with your role as an investigator.
Thank you, Commissioners. The Swart murder is referred, as it is referred, it is the murder that occurred in Vereeniging area on the 17th of April 2024. In brief, this is the case that occurred in the morning of the day that I've just mentioned, the 17th, where an individual was shot and killed at Vereeniging, and then the case was then given to us as a unit to investigate.
Okay. You then mentioned that...
Sorry, the individual being, the individual's name?
The individual's name is Mr. Amart Swart.
Thank you, Chair. You then deal in that paragraph, still on paragraph 5, but on the next page, You referred to many crime scenes related to this murder. Before we deal with the details of the scenes, could you just list the scenes and explain to us why there are 4 scenes that you reference in there?
Yes, thank you, Commissioner. This Vereeniging murder was registered as Vereeniging Case 275 for 2021, and it is referred to as a main case, and it has got another 3 cases that I would say are consolidated to it or joined under it. And then I will go on and say, as this murder occurred, it was also learned that there were other cases that were connected to it in such a way that the people that murdered Mr. Swart and Vereeniging were arrested at a different area, which is now Bramley, in Johannesburg. And then there was a docket that was registered there, and it was referenced as a Bramley Case 149 of 4/2024.
And then the clyptopher in 7.2, you mentioned clyptopher as well. Can you explain the relevance of that?
Yes, Commissioner, and there was also another case that was that would later be joined to Vereeniging as well as referenced as clyptopher Case 77/4/224. Here is a person that was arrested.
Sorry, so not 224, 2024.
2024. Sorry, Commissioner. Thank you for correction, Commissioner.
You may proceed.
On this case, there is a person that was arrested in Clyptopher, and he was later connected to murder. And then this docket was opened because he was found with a firearm and ammunition at that area. Then it was registered under Clyptopher area and given that number.
Under paragraph 7.1, which you have dealt with already, you refer to a street in Bramley and a house in Kew. Is there a reason for saying a house without giving the street address?
Yes, Commissioner, there is a reason to that because that house belongs to the suspect that was arrested in Bramley. And then the reason for not giving the address is because that there is his family that is staying there that can be compromised if maybe this address can be given in public.
Thank you, Witness A. And then if you can tell us about 7.3, the Vereeniging Office Park.
Thank you, Commissioner. The Vereeniging Office Park is also referred to this case as a murder scene or a crime scene of Vereeniging. That is where the murder of Mr. Amar Swart occurred.
Okay, thank you. Witness A, at paragraph 8, you say you'll deal with each scene, and we'll get to that. At paragraph 9, you speak about your role in the investigation and that there is another witness, Witness B, who is best placed to deal with other events. Can you tell us why that is?
That is correct, Commissioner. Witness B is going to come after me and deal with this case in details because at some time I was committed to other cases when we started with this investigation. So I will be doing this case and also attending other cases on the side And then she was fully committed on this one from the word go to this day.
Thank you. If we can then go to page 3 of your statement, where you then start with the Swart murder again at paragraph 10, and you don't need to repeat that because you've already dealt with the description of the murder. But if you can just tell us how you got involved in the investigation of the murder.
Thank you, Commissioner. On the 17th of April, 2024, I was on duty when I received a call from one of my colleagues that told us that he has gotten an instruction from our commander, Brigadier Khopane, that we must attend to a crime scene that was active in Bremley. And at that time, we didn't know what this crime scene was all about. And then I did ask him on the phone to give me more details about the crime scene that we were instructed to attend. And then his response was that he does not have full details. He's just given instruction that we must go to that crime scene at the address that was given to us at a time, and we will be briefed as we get to the crime scene.
Can I ask you, Witness A, approximately what time would this have been?
This was in the morning of the 17th of April 2024 at around 10.
So approximately 3 hours after the murder had been committed.
That's correct, Commissioner.
If we can then go to page 4 of your statement at paragraph 13, can you tell us what then you did next? You say that you arrived at the office. What transpired thereafter?
Yes, I arrived at the office because at that moment I was driving with witness B in the same vehicle. And then we arrived at the office, then we got to this colleague of ours that was giving us the instruction from the brigadier. Then we requested him to brief us a little further about what we needed to do. And then he said all he has is the address where we need to go and attend, and then the number of the person that needs to give us full details when we get to the crime scene. And what happened, that colleague of ours jumped into the vehicle that I was driving, and then the three of us drove to the crime scene at Bremley.
Was there anyone else that accompanied you?
Yes, Commissioner, we were joined by two other colleagues of ours a little later at the crime scene. They were instructed to be with us at the crime scene. We were initially told by the brigadier through the colleague that has just given us the instruction from the brigadier that it appeared as if the crime scene was huge and it will need more than 3 members to attend to, which is why we had to be joined by 2 extra detectives, which was Warrant Officer Mapalane and Sergeant Gosi.
And you then, in paragraph 14, deal with what you observed when you arrived on the scene. Can you tell us, give us more detail on that? And this is now the Q Bramley scene.
Yes, Commissioner. When we arrived at the crime scene, we saw a lot of police vehicles marked and unmarked. And then we asked as to who was going to brief us, and then we arrived there. We found the TRT team, which is Tactical Response Team, and then the Provincial Tracking Team that were already at the crime scene. And then we requested to be briefed before the scene could be handed over to us.
And what did they tell you as part of the brief?
They told us that there were 3 people that had already been arrested in the Viano that was parked in the center of the crime scene at the street. And then they told that the information that they had at that particular time.
Sorry, witness A.
Sorry, witness, a Mercedes-Benz Viano. I just want to give the full description as it appears from the statement. Apologies for interrupting you mid-sentence. Can you please repeat the last thing you were saying?
Yes, Commissioner. I was saying when we arrived there, we were briefed that there were 3 people that had already been arrested. And then furthermore, the members that were briefing us, they told us that those 3 people were arrested in a Mercedes-Benz Viano, that is a V-Class bus Viano that was parked in the middle of the street.
And what else did they tell you about the Viano?
And then they told us that this Viano belonged to one of the people that were arrested at the crime scene. They also told us that there is exhibits, or there are exhibits that were recovered from the Viano.
Okay.
And furthermore, they told us that these 3 suspects that were arrested there are suspected to be connected to the murder that had just occurred 2 hours or a few hours earlier in Vereeniging, the murder that I mentioned when I started on my statement of Amart Swart.
Now,
and they told us that they were going to hand over the scene to us, but promised that they will keep giving us information as we progress with the crime scene.
Okay, in paragraph 15 of your statement, you deal with interviews with the suspects. Can you just elaborate on that?
That is correct, Commissioner. We started interviewing the suspect individually, and then we found that one of them was a police officer that was stationed at Johannesburg Central under Detective Branch. And then he introduced himself to us as Michael Puletau. And then I personally asked him if he was not supposed to be at work, as it was a working day. And he told me that he actually is on duty.
Continue.
And the second suspect that was arrested with him introduced himself as Musake Kane of Q, the house that I didn't give address to. He told us that he was a friend of Tau, and he was together with Tau when he was arrested in a Viano. And the third person that I will not name because he was not charged, he was released because we could not link him to the murder or any other crime that happened on that day. But he was arrested on that day because he was found with them. We had to ask him questions and see if he was connected to the crimes. But he did give his names to us.
And what did he say, what reason did he give for why he was with Tau and Kekana?
He told us that he knows Musake Kana. Then he told us that Musake Kana had just called him as he was coming to him, and then he said he needs a rim, the rim of a Mercedes-Benz. He told him that one of his friends was stuck in Vereeniging side in the Val, Kliprivier. with the Mercedes-Benz that had a damaged rim. Therefore, they wanted the rim from him to go back to the VAL to assist him.
And then, insofar as the Viano is concerned, you said earlier you were briefed by the team that was on site that Tau, one of the suspects, was the owner of the Viano. Did one of the suspects take ownership of the Viano?
Yes, Tau did agree that the Viano is his.
Okay.
But he then told us that he was not driving it at the time when they were arrested. Musa was the driver.
Okay. In paragraph 16, you continue with what was observed on the scene, but you mentioned specifically items that were found at the scene. Can you deal with that?
That is correct, Commissioners. When we got there, we found that there were recoveries that were found in the Viano. Among the recoveries that were there were 4 cell phones, with one cell phone being a small phone that we refer to as a burner phone.
Can
in
you?
the sense that
Oh, please continue. I wanted to ask what a burner phone is.
we refer to it, Commissioner, as a burner phone in a sense that it does not have internet capabilities. It does not have, it's those small phones that you do not have internet capabilities on. Usually in the line of work that I'm in, we find suspect that they will have their smartphone, which is their personal phone, and they will use this so-called burner phone, which does not have the internet capabilities, with a belief that when they use it, it's not easy for them to be traced.
I thought
So it is usually referred to as a burner phone.
I thought this related to the phone not having been registered properly. The verb used colloquially being that it has not been recorded. So a burner phone has nothing to do with it.
I won't be technical about it, Commissioner. I'm just saying it the way we understand it in the line of work that I do.
Thank you, Witness A. Insofar as the burner phone is concerned, did anyone claim ownership of the burner phone?
No, Commissioners, no one of them wanted to claim ownership of the phone.
And insofar as the other 3 phones that you found on the scene, what were you told about that?
The 3 other phones, one of those phones was Michael Puller's phone. He said it was his. The other one was Musa's phone. He agreed that it is his. Then the other one, they said it belonged to the person that was arrested in Clipperfield.
And this would be the 3rd suspect, which we'll get to later.
This will now be the 3rd suspect that we'll get to later, correct, Commissioners?
Okay. And then in paragraph 17, you speak about additional material that was found on the scene in addition to the cell phones. Can you elaborate on that, please?
Yes, Commissioners. There was also a rim of a Mercedes-Benz that was also found in the Viano. And then when the suspects were asked about it, they said it belonged to the person that we didn't arrest. And then the explanation was that it was going to be used to assist the person that was stabbed in Clipperfield in the Val.
Okay. What else did you find?
And then we also recovered 15 used cartridges of a rifle that were in a plastic bag, a transparent plastic bag, also in the vehicle.
Now, in your statement, you refer to these 15 cartridges as the infamous 15 cartridges. Why do you call it that?
Yes, Commissioners, these 15 cartridges were then later going to assist us to link this suspect to the murder scene in Vereeniging or to the firearms that would later be found in the house in the crime scene that is also in Brandley, at a house that I didn't give address of.
Okay. And in addition to the cartridges, did you find any firearms?
Before you step off the cartridges, is it normal to find a collection of empty cartridges like this?
No, Commissioner, it is very abnormal, to the extent that we did ask the owner of the vehicle as to why these cartridges were carried around like the way they were. And his explanation was that they belong to his brother, who is a professional hunter, a sports, he gave a term, he said he's a professional, he belonged to a club that do sport hunting. Then we asked him, why do you carry them around? Then he said he was using the vehicle a previous day, then he forgot them in a car.
But did they explain, or did he explain why the brother would have collected these and placed them in a plastic bag?
No, Commissioner, he failed to explain that part of the question because we did ask him. He failed. He totally failed.
Is it so that empty cartridges are found after a firearm has been fired? They fall off. As you fire, an empty cartridge falls off. Is that not so?
That is correct. That's what I understand with the firearms. If you fire, then the cartridge will fall off the ground.
So for cartridges to be found collected and placed in a plastic bag, it would mean that someone must have picked up those empty cartridges and placed them in the plastic bag.
That is correct, Your Worship. That is what we concluded. We thought that it means someone collected these cartridges from the crime scene, maybe for the purposes to dispose of them, so that they cannot be linked to the firearm.
And
not
yes.
knowing that they will be arrested before they get rid of the cartridges.
Or I think right at the beginning of your last sentence, you talk about linking. So does it mean that from an empty cartridge, you are able to tell what firearm was used to fire or to shoot? There is.
I would say yes, commissioners. It will be, it is like that. You get the firearm, and then you get the cartridge, and then you can compare to say this cartridge was fired from this firearm.
So you must have both. You must have a firearm and you must have the empty cartridge.
That will be a technical question to answer.
All right.
But for us, it is very good if you have them both.
Yes.
Sometimes you can only find the firearm, you take it to ballistics. If you like it, they will tell you that the other crime scene has got the empty cartridge that is connected to your firearm. Then they do a linkage. And then you can do maybe you get a cartridge without a firearm, then they connect it vice versa. So with us, it was good because we got the cartridge and the firearm. So I think it was easy for someone who was going to do the linkages in that sense.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Witness A, you say in your statement that the cartridges likely would not have been found had the team not apprehended the suspects that day. Is that what you were referring to earlier?
That's correct, Commissioners. That's what we thought as a team to say. These cartridges were going to be disposed of before we arrest the people.
Okay. I had asked you, you find the empty cartridges, but did you find any firearms on the suspects?
Yes, Commissioner. There was one firearm that was found inside the Viano in a sling bag, and then it belonged to Michael Puletau. He told us that was his firearm, a licensed firearm, a private licensed firearm.
And what type of firearm was it?
It was a pistol.
Just pause there for a moment. Was Witness A, it's Commissioner Kumalo here. The firearm that was found in the Viano that you say you were told belongs to Dau, was it a service pistol or his private pistol? And the second question, was it licensed? Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. This was his private personal firearm and it was licensed to him.
Thank you,
and
Commissioner.
Maybe just to continue on that question, Commissioner, we did ask him about his service pistol as a police officer who was on duty, was supposed to be having it. Then he told us that he had long surrendered it back to the employer. He didn't carry it around.
Thank you. You then also speak about a license plate that was found. Can you elaborate?
Yes, Commissioner. Among the things that were recovered or found in the Viano was a set of license plate, the registration number, that was later linked to the vehicle or the Mercedes-Benz that was found where the third suspect was arrested in the Val at Klipperfier. That will mean the Mercedes-Benz was driving with a wrong plate number wherever it was at that given time.
Now, I just want to place paragraph 18 of your statement on record, given that this is still an ongoing matter. You say, any further information regarding the scene is not relevant to the Commission's work and may compromise the case if disclosed publicly at this stage. Do you want to elaborate on that?
Yes, Commissioners, because more of information is the details that I think might compromise the case as the case is at a critical stage at court.
Thank you, Witness A. You then move on to the second scene, which is still part of the Bramley case number, which is the house in Kew that you referred to earlier. Can you tell us what transpired there?
This is what we refer to as scene 2 at Bramley, where now the second suspect, which is Musa Kekana, resided. In this crime scene, I didn't attend it myself because I had to go and attend the crime scenes that were at the Val. So I left other members to attend to it. And then they attended to it. Then we were communicating with them constantly. with the recoveries that were recovered at the crime scene and what was going on at the crime scene.
And you refer...
And,
continue.
Yes, Commissioners.
Continue, Witness A.
Yes, Commissioners. In this crime scene, we were told that the police that were attending there recovered a motor vehicle, which is a Hyundai i20, which inside had a bag that was loaded with 3 firearms, of which one was a rifle and 2 were pistol and a lot of ammunition.
Now, you say in your statement that the I-20 was spotted at the murder scene at the time of the murder on CCTV cameras. When were you informed of that?
That is correct, Commissioners. As I said, that we were briefed continuously as we were at the scene. The information that kept coming in was that in the morning at around 7 of the same day, which is the 17th of April, at the crime scene, 2 vehicles were seen in the CCTV cameras. And then one of those vehicles was a Hyundai, the same Hyundai that now is being recovered at Musa's house. And then we were told that this vehicle was driving around the crime scene, making turns with the Mercedes-Benz that was later recovered with suspect number 3 at Kliprivier. Now, this information is from the members that attended the crime scene at Vereeniging that watched the footage at the crime scene and told us that they seeing these vehicles and then now gave information for us and other units to see if these cars that we're talking about match the description that they're giving us.
Witness A, where you say these 2 vehicles were seen in the morning at the crime scene, which crime scene are we talking about?
I'm now talking the crime scene where Mr. Amar Swart was murdered, Commissioners, in Vereeniging at Duncanville.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Baloyi. We have displayed the visual of the Hyundai and the Witness A. I'm not sure if you can see the screen, but you do have hard copies of these documents, and I think you are able to look at it from your side on your computer. Do you see what we see, or do you have it on your laptop?
I cannot see it from the display, but I have it here with me from the documents that I have, Commissioners.
Okay, can you describe for us?
Can't we screen share for the witness to see, for us to be sure that the witness is looking at what we are looking at?
We can attempt to do so, Chair.
Witness A?
Just
Yes, Commissioners.
While they are busy sorting out the visuals, when you talk about a Mercedes-Benz, just be clear because evidence is being transcribed. There's a Mercedes-Benz Viano and a Mercedes-Benz C200. So when you refer to a Mercedes-Benz, please just clarify which one you are referring to.
Thank you, Commissioner. In this instance, I refer to a Mercedes-Benz C200, which is a sedan.
Just a minute. I saw on my screen a whole lot of documents, and I'm not sure how safe that is.
We have redacted the necessary information, Chair.
So when I see all of those documents, I should not be worried.
No, Chair, not at all. It is just a description of what is shown in the photo, and the relevant personal information has been redacted.
All right, thank you then. Are we still trying?
Yes, Chair. We're just trying to figure out how to share screen. Okay. Witness A, are you able to see the screen?
Yes, Commissioners, I can see this screen clearly.
Okay. Can you tell us what we're looking at here?
At the screen, I'm seeing two vehicles. I will talk to the one that is in front of the buggy, which is a white vehicle. Then it looks like it is actually a Hyundai i20 that was. So
we can hear you.
The vicinity of the crime scene. Just at 7 o'clock. It's actually 7:01.
Yes, that's the second one. We'll go there now. That's the second image. Can you hear us, Witness A?
And then the second image, it is the same. Sorry, Commissioners.
Please proceed.
Thank you, Commissioners. And this image, it is the same vehicle, the Hyundai i20. And then on this one, it is seen with the vehicle that was driven by Mr. Swart, the deceased.
If you can go to the next one.
Yes, Commissioners, the next one is now the vehicle of the deceased standing right in front of the gate of where he was working, and then we're seeing the Hyundai i20 standing next to it.
And this is the Hyundai i20 that was found at the house in Q.
This is the Hyundai i20 that was found at the house in Q, the house that belongs to Musa Kekana, who was arrested with Michael Bullet down.
Just a moment, Advocate Seagulls. Witness A, the other vehicle that you've described and you say was being driven by the deceased, can we please identify it? Make and model? You don't have to give us the year. I assume you won't know. Just the color, make, and model.
Correct, Commissioner. I wouldn't know the year model, but it is a Ford double cab buggy.
So it's a silver Ford Ranger.
It's a silver Ford Ranger double cab. Thank you, Commissioner.
Yes.
Witness XA, rather, if you just go back to the very first shot, Ms. Siegels. Yes. You've got two vehicles there. There's the white one, which I think you've identified as the Hyundai i20. Is your evidence that the silver vehicle that we see there is the vehicle driven by Mr. Swart?
Correct, Commissioner. It is.
Okay, let's go to the second shot. And you say that yellow circle there, it's that Hyundai now in the middle of the road. And perhaps for the record, we should describe where it is. In the first shot, the vehicle is on the side of the road. Is that correct? In the very first shot?
That is correct, Commissioner.
Now, in the second shot, there's a white vehicle circled in the middle of the road. You're saying it's the same vehicle, the I-20 Hyundai.
This is the same vehicle.
And the one in front, you say that's Mr. Swart.
That is correct, Commissioner.
Let's go to the third shot. Now, in fact, in the shot just above, Ms. Siegel, there are two shots in the picture. The first one now shows the white vehicle almost abreast with the silver vehicle, both facing in the same direction. Is that the same vehicle that was in the middle of the road in the previous shot? Is that your evidence?
That is correct, Commissioner.
All right. Now, and that is still the Hyundai. Now, in the second shot of what we are looking at, there are in fact two vehicles, white vehicles, and none of them is facing the same direction as the silver vehicle. Can you just explain that for the record? What are we seeing on the record? Which one is the Hyundai I-20? Where is it facing now? Because you have two vehicles now, and the one, there's only one car that's facing towards us in this picture, and it's the silver vehicle. Just explain the shot we're looking at.
That is correct, Commissioner. The Hyundai vehicle will be the one that is facing to the vehicle of the deceased, Mr. Swart. And then that other one, I think it is the vehicle that is just in motion on the street, is driving past.
So the one closest to the silver vehicle, you're saying that's the Hyundai I-20?
Correct, Commissioner.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Siegels.
Thank you, Commissioner Baloyi.
Before we leave the photos, I see that above the top photo, there is commentary. I'm not sure if this witness is going to be giving evidence on that commentary or if it's for somebody else.
No, it's not for this witness.
Thank
you. Can we go to page 6 of your statement, witness A? At paragraph 20, you then deal with the Viano belonging to Mr. Tau, which you also say was parked at the house in Q.
That's correct, Commissioner. This Viano that belongs to Tau was parked at Q during the commission of crime. Q, which is the house of Musa Kekana.
In your statement, you are not as categorical as you are now. You say it appears that the Viano belonging to Tau was initially parked at Kekana's house. Do you want to explain the difference in how you phrase this?
Yes, Commissioner. I think that is just a wording. The fact is that it was parked there because when this Hyundai I-20 drove back from Vereeniging, it was actually surveyed and followed by the people that were working with the police, and it was seen entering the house that belongs to Musa, and then the Viano drove out of the house. So that puts the Viano right where this I-20 was recovered later on.
Thank you, Commissioner. Then we do have the tracker information for the Viano, which we have displayed. Can you see it, witness A?
Yes, I can see it, Commissioners.
Can you tell us what we're looking at and what does it confirm?
It confirmed that this Viano was actually at a house that belongs to Michael Puletau at that given time, which is 3 12 minutes in the morning when the ignition started. Then at around 3:31, then it was parked and the ignition was switched off at Musa's house. So it is confirmed that it was parked there in a duration when the crime was committed in Vereeniging.
You are referring to the last entry there. I don't know if you can see it clearly, where it says 17 April 2024 at 0403, Viano arrives at Musa Kekana's house, ignition off.
Yes, Commissioners.
Thank you. In paragraph 21, you had already spoken about the firearms that were found and the ammunition, but you mentioned that you did not accompany the team. So how did you become aware of that information?
We had constant communication with the team that was left back at Brimley as we moved to the Val with witness PE. So they kept us informed as about what was happening, what was recovered in that crime scene, which is at Brimley and the house of Musa.
And then insofar as you refer to a large amount of ammunition that was found in a bag in the I-20, was this used ammunition or unused?
No, these were bullets, like the unused live ammunition, as they would be called, Commissioners.
Thank you. Can we then move on to the third scene, which you refer to with reference to a case number, Kliprivier? We are now at paragraph 22 of your statement.
Yes, Commissioner, the third scene will be the scene that was at R59 North at Engine Garage, where the person that was arrested there is Tiego Floyd Mabusela, and he was driving that Mercedes-Benz, the C200, grey in color. So he was stuck there with his rim damaged. And then this is a vehicle that I mentioned earlier on, that it was seen in the CCTV video footage at the crime scene before the shooting of Amar Swart.
If you can just pause there, Witness A, so that we can project that, so that you can explain it.
Yes, Commissioners.
Can you see the screen?
I can see the screen, yes.
Okay, please proceed.
As I was saying, Commissioners, this was seen in the morning driving around the crime scene together with the I-20 that I spoke about in the previous paragraphs. And it was now found at the garage in R59 in Kliprivier area with the person that was arrested there, who was later known to us as Tiego Floyd Mabusela.
If I can just ask you to be more detailed about that insofar as the timeline is concerned and what it is that we are seeing on our screens. If you can start with the first one, which says 17 April 2024, and it says at 5:45. What are we looking at?
We are looking at CCTV cameras showing the same Mercedes-Benz, the C200, driving around at the area of Vereeniging.
Okay, it says that it's passing Q-Tech.
Yes, commissioners. QTech is in Vereeniging, and in QTech is our crime scene. So it is picked up.
Sorry, witness A, I apologize for interrupting you. Perhaps what the witness should do, Ms. Siegels, is read the captions there into the record.
Thank you for the direction, Commissioner Baloyi. Did you hear that, Witness A? Could you read it into the record for us, the description?
Yes.
You can start with the first entry at 5:45. Apologies.
Yes, 17 April 2024, 5:45. CCTV camera shows a silver Mercedes C-Class driving past QTech towards Woodkop Road. It turns right onto Woodkop, then it's giving us DVR time.
You can just read it to explain the difference between the time that the actual footage is and displays and the time of the caption, because there's a time difference. So just read that into the record as well.
It says the DVR time is 6 minutes long than the actual time that is depicted on the clock.
Okay, and the next one, the next caption.
Sorry, perhaps before you do the next caption, there is a vehicle on the road there. What vehicle is that?
This is C200 Mercedes-Benz that we are talking about, Commissioner.
Yes, and you say it passes QTech, driving past. In relation to that vehicle in this picture, which side is QTech here when we're looking at this picture?
As far as I understand the picture and understand the crime scene as I know it, the company or the QTech will be at the back of the vehicle on the left side.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Baloyi. Witness A, you can continue with the second caption.
Then the second caption is gives the same date. The time will be 5:53. It shows a silver Mercedes-Benz class driving towards QTech from left of Woodkop Road. DVR time is 6 minutes long, meaning now it is driving to the opposite direction in comparison to the first footage that we were given above, which will technically mean it is coming back towards the QTech.
Okay, before you deal with the next one, what is it that you call this? What activity is this?
We call this, in a terminology that is called scouting or surveillance. Looking for the crime scene, looking for the dangers, maybe spotting the suspect, or even maybe looking for anything that could disturb you when you're committing the crime.
Thank you. Then we'll go on to the next one. Can you read the next one for us?
Thank you, Commissioner. The next one will be the same date at 6:49. It shows a silver Mercedes-Benz C-Class driving towards QTech from the right of Woodkop Road. DVR time is 6 minutes long.
Sorry, the next one?
The next one will show the same date at 6:45. QTech CCTV shows a silver Mercedes-Benz C-Class driving past the gate from direction of Woodkop Road.
Can we, witness A, in these two shots, they both have 6:49 as a timestamp, and that's what you say on record, and it can be confusing because they look different, these shots. Can you give us the exact time stamp of the first one? Ms. Sigals, if we
Yes.
could just project fully the first picture.
Perhaps I could be of assistance, Commissioner Baloy. The first one, which says 6:49 in the caption, is obtained from CCTV footage other than QTech, so from another entity, and its DVR time is 6 minutes slower. So the 6:49 in that one is referring to 6:43 actually on the DVR system. The second one, it's also 6:49, but the vehicle is coming in it's in the same direction, but it's being caught at two different cameras. So the time on the 6:43 is not an accurate time. You would have to look at 6:49 as the top one and 6:49:54 seconds, the second one. So it's within less than a minute of each other.
Yes, I think what I wanted to clear on the record is these are two different shots. They are not same shots, different angles or anything.
Correct. They're coming from two different cameras. The one is coming from a different entity, CCTV footage, and the second one is coming from QTech. That is why on the caption of the first one, you'll see it's been redacted. It's a redaction to show where it came from. It just says shows a silver Merc, whereas the second one, it will say QTech CCTV shows, so as not to identify the source of the first.
Okay. Sorry, just lastly, there's two timestamps. The first one, and perhaps to distinguish them, we should be referring to those, because in the first shot, in the body of the shot itself, you have 06:43:48, and in the second shot, you have 06:49:54. Is that not a distinguishing?
Correct. Yes, you can. We can use the imaging. It's just that the time on the image is 6 minutes slower, so it's not an accurate reflection of the time that the vehicle was actually coming past there. The vehicle came past at 6:49, according to the record. So it is within seconds of each other, but from two different sources and in the same street.
Okay.
Witness
All right.
A.
Perhaps what we should do then is let's properly record. Let the witness explain it. Let's record the evidence, the witnesses'
Thank you.
explanation of these two shots and any differences in them.
Witness A, did you hear? Can you just explain the two shots and the difference between the two shots?
Thank you, Commissioner. I think the advocate explained it better. The shots are from two different sources, and then the timestamps won't be the same. So for the purposes of record, I will read the first one as 6:43:84 seconds from a different source, from a different camera. Then the bottom one will be read as 6:49:54 seconds from QTech CCTV camera as a source.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Baloy. And then if we can go to the last two images, insofar as the C200 is concerned. Can you see it, Witness A?
Yes, Commissioner. Thank you. On this one, I think it is the same scenario. We've got two shots from different sources. The first one is from QTech cameras, and then it shows the timestamp will be 6:52:28. Then we're seeing a same silver Mercedes-Benz C200 driving past the gate towards the direction of World Cup Road. And the bottom one will be from a different source that is not disclosed to us, which will be depicting the same vehicle, which is a C200 Mercedes-Benz, and the timestamp will read as 6:46:51. Then it reads as it shows a silver Mac driving past Q-Tech towards Woodcock. It turns right into Woodcock. Then they're giving us the time delay, which is 6 minutes.
Witness A, in these two photos, it looks like the Mercedes-Benz has turned around now because it's facing left. In the previous two photos, it was facing right, more or less 3 minutes earlier.
That is correct, Commissioner.
So is that consistent with your evidence that it was doing what you call scouting?
That is correct, Commissioner.
Thank you, Commissioner Kumalo. So, witness A, if we can then return to your statement and deal with what else was found at the scene where Mr. Mabusela was arrested.
Mr. Mabusela was found at the crime scene with a firearm, which is a pistol and ammunition, and one cell phone, which is also referred to as a burner phone.
Now, before you continue, can I just ask you to explain, because you said you found the vehicle had a damaged rim, and then you also referred to a license plate. Can you tell us about the license plate?
Yes, the Mercedes-Benz had a damaged rim, which now meant that the rim that was found in the Mercedes-Benz Viano in Bramley was indeed meant to come and assist this one. And then when the police checked the license plate on the disc, they found that the registration numbers that was recovered in the Mercedes-Benz Viano at Q-Tech actually was the correct registration number for Mercedes-Benz C200 that was found in Clipperfield.
If I can just understand what you're saying that the license plate for the C200 that's registered to the owner of the C200 was found in the Viano.
That is correct, Commissioners.
And then what license plate was found on the C200 in Vereniging?
Oh, the license plate that was found there, it is a license plate that did not belong to the Mercedes-Benz. It was a wrong plate. It was fitted with the wrong plate number.
So the plate was actually on the vehicle. It wasn't in the vehicle. It was actually on the vehicle.
It was on the vehicle, like the front and back one, as it normally would be.
In your experience as an investigator, what would the reason for that be? Why would there be a fake plate on the C200 when that vehicle does have legitimate plates?
This would mean that because maybe if I can just, for the purposes of record, this vehicle belonged to the daughter of Mabusela. So using the wrong plate number would assist him not to be linked to the crime scene because it was picked up at the CCTV cameras with this registration number that was wrong. So I think the aim of putting the wrong plate number was for him not to be linked to the crime of murder in Vereniging.
Thank you. You may continue with what was found. You mentioned the burner cell phone.
Before you do that, Witness A, you have given us the exact detail of scene 1 and scene 2, where exactly they were geographically. This third scene where Mr. Mabusela was found and arrested, where was it?
It was an engine garage in Libreville, northbound.
This is in Vereeniging.
This is in Libreville on the way from Vereeniging.
Thank you.
It was just outside Vereeniging.
Thank you, Ms. Siegels. Thank you.
Witness A, let's get it right. The engine garage in R59 is between Alberton and Vanderbilt Park, I think. So it's halfway between Alberton and Vanderbilt Park. But when you travel to Vereeniging using the R59, you would go past that engine garage. Is that correct, more or less?
That is correct, Commissioners.
Thank you for the clarity, Commissioner Kumalo. You may continue, Witness A, with regarding the burner cell phone.
Yes. So what was recovered on this suspect, who is now Floyd Diego Mabusela, was this burner cell phone and the firearm, of which he was arrested for initially. And then these two were booked into the detained as exhibits. And then this cell phone was later going to assist the investigation to link this suspect, who is Floyd Mabusela, with the other burner phone that was recovered in the first scene at Bramley through communication. So this is the investigation that was carried on in a week that followed.
When you say in communication, that the two burner phones were in communication with each other, at what point? When was this?
These two phones were found to have been communicating during the commission of crime and after the crime has been committed in Vereeniging. So the conclusion from the investigating team was that these two burner phones were utilized, or they were bought for the main purpose of communication between these two vehicles at the crime scene and maybe coordinating their movement from the crime scene.
If I recall correctly, you said that Mr. Mabusela's smartphone was found with the other two suspects at the Q Bramley scene. Is that correct?
That is correct, Commissioners.
Okay. Chair, I see that it's 10:58 and I'm moving on to the next scene. Should we adjourn for tea and then I can continue?
Let us adjourn and resume at 11:15.
All right, and there you were hearing from Witness A, who is a police officer who's one of those that was tasked with investigating the murder of Vereeniging engineer Armand Swart. Suspects in that case, as you heard, have been named in the commission. There is already a case that has been tabled before the courts against them, and so their names are already publicly available. Now we know that the case of Amanda Swartz is one that has been named by Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi as being one of those cases that contains traces and evidence of interference, or even of the interference that he alleges takes place or has been taking place within the SAPS. So these individuals, of course, having been at the heart of it, will help to give details in that regard. So that's where we're going to pause it for now. It is 11 o'clock. Let's take the latest news update.
In our top stories, SANDF member allegedly kills his son and a weather warning for heavy rain and thunderstorms. Good morning. A 53-year-old SANDF member has allegedly shot and killed his 17-year-old son, Heramucha, outside Tohoyando in Limpopo. The provincial police spokesperson, Malisela Lidwaba, says the soldier shot and wounded himself after the incident. Lidwaba says the son was found with bullet wounds to the head.
It is further alleged that the 53-year-old suspect, who is also a member of SANDF based outside Mokopong, was taken to hospital for medical treatment under police guard. The motive behind this incident is currently unknown, but domestic violence cannot be ruled out as the two were staying together in the house.
A person being referred to as Witness A has started to testify before the Matlanga Commission of Inquiry in Pretoria. The witness is one of the three that will testify partially in camera from today until Wednesday. According to the Commission, the witnesses referred to as A, B and C will take the stand off camera from a remote location, but with their voices audible. The witnesses' testimonies will detail alleged interference in the investigation of criminal cartels. Advocate Lisi Ngube is leading the evidence.
I will start by saying that I am an investigator within the SAPS, and I am currently based at Organized Crime, which is the unit that is mandated to investigate crimes that are understood to be sophisticated and they need a certain approach in a way that they are being committed by syndicate, the organized groups. Thank you, Commissioner.
The Gauteng Education Department says it will boost security in high-risk areas to prevent disruptions during the National Senior Certificate examinations. The department spokesperson, Steve Mabona, says police and crime wardens will be deployed to identified hotspots. Mabona says the safety of learners in schools remain their top priority.
No, we have a partnership with the community safety, utilizing the wardens and the police as well. You will understand that police will understand now with the collaboration that we have with them to safeguard all the schools, especially those that are in the high-risk areas. We have signed with them and they committed that they're going to be working with us very closely. So we are comforted that the police, especially in Gauteng and KZN, we are prioritized in that.
The Tshwane Metro Police Department says it has deployed its officers to monitor a march and control traffic in the Pretoria CBD. It has urged motorists to use alternative routes. The march, which civil society group Stand Up South Africa has organised, started from Church Square and will end at the Union Buildings. The marchers will deliver a memorandum to demand President Cyril Ramaphosa's resignation. Tshwane Metro Police spokesperson Isaac Mahamba.
Following streets will be affected: Paul Kruger Street, Madiba Street, Sisulu Street, and Nelson Mandela Drive. Motorists are advised to use alternative routes such as Nanasita Street, Eskiam Patlele Street, Boom Street, and Late Street.
The South African Weather Services has issued a warning for heavy rains and thunderstorms in parts of the country this week. This comes after a rainy weekend across the country. Forecaster Tukelo Chilwane says a cold front later this week will bring more rain.
The South African Weather Service has issued a yellow level 4 warning for severe thunderstorms over the western parts of the Northwest Province, as well as a yellow level 2 warning for severe thunderstorms over the central parts of the Northwest, the northeastern parts of the Northern Cape, and the northern parts of the Free State for Monday. From Wednesday onwards, no significant rainfall is expected across the country. However, there will be a gradual increase in temperatures, especially over the central and eastern provinces. A weak cold front is expected to pass over the Western Cape on Friday, resulting in isolated showers and rain in the province.
Recapping the top story, a 53-year-old SNDF member has allegedly shot and killed his 17-year-old son, Heramocha, outside Tohoyando in Limpopo. For SAFM News, I am Anne Musa.
Streaming Skim Sum on the way to class.
Catching the Premier League while waiting for your order.
Jamming to Metro FM before you even get out of bed.
On SABC Plus, sinayo yonke into ifunayo. Your shows, your music, your way, anytime, anywhere. Zero subscription fees.
On your phone, tablet or smart TV.
Download SABC Plus on iOS or Google Play Store.
The National Pulse, weekdays 3 to 6 p.m.
So firstly, let's get to maybe the central position for today, the release of the hostages. You have a position, but certainly the organisation does have it as well. Tell me about it.
I think it's a really bittersweet day today, but today we're looking more at the sweet than the bitter. I think everybody should be celebrating. There've been calls for a ceasefire for a long time. This war has been absolutely devastating and tragic. It's been brutal on both sides. We certainly mourn the innocent deaths on both sides. So I think the first thing to celebrate is that for the first time in 2 years.
Professor Karen Mulner, the national chairperson of the South African Jewish Board.
Ashraf Garda on SAFM.
Every big business starts small, but it's the bold ones that keep on growing. Are you bold enough to take the next step? Sanlam Corporate and Santam are calling South Africa's small business champions to the 2025 Sanlam SMME Collective, happening 21st October at the Sandton Convention Centre from 9 to 4 p.m. It's your chance to grow, connect with the experts, explore funding and access to markets, and discover how AI and sustainability can help your business thrive. And remember, growing your business isn't just about profit, it's about the people who move your business forward. Explore Sanlam's Easy Retirement Plan to protect what matters most, your people. SMME Collective seats are limited, so request your invite today. Literally, today is the last day on www.sanlamonline.co.za/campaigns/SMME Collective.
If you think you cannot afford a lawyer, think again. Clientele Legal has made professional legal services affordable. You receive up to 745,000 Rand worth of legal services per year. Our range of plans include cover for you, your spouse, children, and extended family. Plans include cover for civil, criminal, and labor-related matters. Whether it's protection orders, gender-based violence, uncontested divorce, or poor service, your Clientele Legal lawyer will be there to assist you. Our services are convenient. Simply pick up the phone and call your lawyer or send us an email and we'll get back to you. All plans include a bail benefit of up to 5,000 Rand and we'll go to the police station and pay it for you. Plus, Clientele Legal offers you 24-hour telephonic legal advice. SMS SAFM to 32195. That's SAFM to 32195. Clientele General is an authorized FSP and licensed non-life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
The Full Circle with Bridget Masinga.
What are some of the more practical steps that maybe employers need to take into consideration when it comes to this conversation around mental health?
The most effective strategies, I think, can be split into structural and cultural elements. So both are actually important. Structurally, companies should start by ensuring that there's accessible mental health support, like counseling, coaching, digital well-being tools, financial well-being support. Prevention is always better than cure. So regular well-being check-ins, they need to be part of the way in which business is done.
Navlika Bratanji, MD of Lira Southern Africa.
The Full Circle with Bridget Masinga, Monday to Friday, 1 to 3 p.m.
Channel your inner feel-good on Expresso this October, from big global moments like the G20 summit to how it all plays out right here at home.
We are keeping it real this Mental Health Awareness Month with conversations that lift and inspire. And of course, all the good stuff that you love, delicious food, fashion trends, and everything in between.
Wake up with the Feel Good Breakfast Show, Expresso, weekdays 6 to 9 a.m. on S3.
Are you a small business owner? Do you truly believe in your dream, but sometimes feel like the odds are stacked against you? Sanlam Corporate and Santam believe in you and in the power of SMMEs to grow South Africa's future. That's why they're hosting the 2025 Sanlam SMME Collective event on 21 October from 9 to 4 p.m. at the Sandton Convention Center. It's an invite-only event. To request an invite, visit sanlamonline.co.za/campaigns/SMME Collective and stand a chance to join the pitch parade, where entrepreneurs like you can present your pitch in person and get real-time expert feedback. Network, learn and be inspired. From funding and risk to AI and new markets, let's unlock growth and shape your future together. Stay tuned to SAFM for more. This October month, SAFM shines a light on mental health awareness. This month, we bring you conversations that break the stigma, encourage care, and provide strategies to protect your mental well-being. Because it's okay not to be okay. And together, we can build a healthier tomorrow. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. The Talking Point with Kathy Motlatlana. Weekdays, 9 a.m. till midday.
Morning, Kathy. I am going to watch this Madlanga commission, and I'll watch ad hoc committee again. But let me tell you something. No one is going to get arrested. We know how these people are working. And it happened in Zondo Commission. So it's just waste of time, waste of money, waste of everything. Yeah, so it's just another wastage of taxpayers' money. This is Taru from Deep Roof. Thank you very much.
Okay, I see today everyone is excited about the Madlanga Commission. I just want to remind the people of South Africa, they must go back to Zondo Commission. What did happen? What did come out of that? So it's like watching a movie, getting pumped up and nothing is going to happen. Thank you. We are in Mtata.
Good morning, Kathy. It's Noah here in Cape Town. What an introduction to the show today, looking at the life and the contribution of Samora Moses Machel to the liberation of South Africa, which just reminds me of a video that has gone viral on social media of Zandile Dubula failing to explain what the frontline states are, which really raises the question of the new age of politicians, if they have an understanding of our regional historical background to our liberation. Thank you so much. I hope you have come across it, and it's a very funny one. You should take a look at that. Thank you.
Good morning, Sis Kathy. I hope that you are well. I want to raise this thing. Sis Kathy, please. Every day when we start conversations, you must read the minutes of the previous day, because it looks like South Africans like to speak, and nobody's listening. There are lots of things that we have talked about, like operations to Dula. They were accused that they are actually doing the wrong thing, even when the leaders were telling the government that people are stealing medicines to cross over to their countries and sell that or give to the members of the family in their countries. We have seen it in the accident in Limpopo, but nobody is saying anything.
Good morning, Kathy. Aaron here.
anonymous caller from Cape Town. What a call, talking about apartheid, 300 years, permanent damage versus 30 years of ANC corruption and failures. How I wish the rest of the Cape Townians, just like him, can see through the lies of Helen Zille, can see through the lies of the Western Cape government and realize that it's all fake. Thank you.
All right, those are just some of the WhatsApp voice notes that you've been sending through to the show as the hours have gone by. And of course, we've all been tuned in to the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry, which is hearing from members within the police service. They've started off by witness A, who has confirmed he is an investigator under organized crime, which is, of course, the portfolio that falls under Lieutenant General Shadrack Sibiya, and he's detailing then the events surrounding the arrest of suspects linked to the murder of the Vereeniging engineer Armand Swartz. So let's take you back then to that commission as it reconvenes.
Anything because the police who were attending to a scene had finished working. It was just for us to confirm the address of the scene and to see where the scene is so that we can be able to make our references on the investigation that has already started.
Okay, so you weren't part of the team that processed the scene earlier in the day. You went there after you left the Bramley scene. Is that correct?
That is correct. I was not part of the team that processed that scene at Vereeniging Q-Tech offices.
Okay. So what was the purpose of going to the scene if there was nothing to be found there?
It was mainly for us to know where our scene is situated, to familiarize ourselves as how it is looking. But at the same time, we didn't know that the scene was already finished processing. We wanted there to make sure that no one was still at the scene. But then when we arrived there, then there was no one.
Okay, and then at paragraph 25, you deal with a Sunnyside docket, which has a 2024 date. Can you explain what its relevance is to the case?
Yes, the commissioners, thank you. The Sunnyside case will then be connected to a vehicle, the Hyundai i20 that was used in the commission of crime. When we did our investigation, we found that this vehicle was actually connected to the case, which is a hijacking of a motor vehicle that was hijacked earlier in the year, in January 2024 to be precise, in Sunnyside. Hence the docket of Sunnyside. It is the docket of hijacking.
Before you proceed to explain that, witness A, can I just place on record that your statement refers to the hijacking occurring in January 2025. It should be January 2024.
That is correct. It should reflect January 2024.
Thank you. You may proceed.
And then the aim of us taking the docket, it was to see if we will be able to maybe connect these arrested persons, which is Musa, Tau, and Floyd, to the crime of hijacking. But unfortunately, we could not, because the victim of hijacking, who is the complainant in this case, said the crime took place during the load shedding, so he could not be able to identify the people that hijacked her. And then as such, they were not connected to a hijacking, but to a possession of a hijacked motor vehicle.
Okay, and then you say that you mentioned something about the license plate that the I-20 was fitted with. Can you just tell us about that?
Yes, the license plate that was fitted in the Hyundai motor vehicle belonged to the motor vehicle that is similar to this Hyundai I-20, but that belonged to an old lady somewhere in Pretoria. And then the investigation was done, and then the statement was obtained from that witness. Then she confirmed that during the time when this commission was, when this crime was committed, the vehicle was parked at her yard, and she's an elderly lady.
Okay.
She was not anywhere close to the crime scene with her vehicle. So that would mean that this motor vehicle was fitted with the registration number that didn't belong to it.
Okay,
If
you
I may.
refer to it as a duplicate license plate. Can you just explain what that means and how it would work?
I refer to it as a duplicate number plate because when we arrived at this old lady that I've just spoken about, we found that her car was fitted with the same number plate that was fitted on the car, on the vehicle that was driven by the suspect at the murder scene. So it means that there were two number plates fitted in two different vehicles at the same time.
And I take it the old lady's vehicle was not a white I-20.
It actually was a white I-20.
Okay, so how did you know that it was a duplication?
We knew that it was a duplication because when you checked the I-20 that was found at the crime scene, it had a different number plate in terms of the registration in the inerters. So the duplication in this sense, it just means that you printed two number plates with one details.
Thank you, Witness A. So,
Thank you, Commissioner.
If I may.
There's a question?
Yes, Witness A, you've told us about the Viano, its ownership, and you've just spoken about the I-20 as a hijacked motor vehicle. The Mercedes C-Class, is there any relevant information of who it belonged to?
Yes, Commissioner, it was found to belong to a lady who is a daughter to accused number 3, the suspect number 3 that was arrested in Klipprefier, Musatio Mabusela.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Baloy. Witness A, can we now move on to what you refer to as the accused person's first appearance, which was on the 19th of April 2024. Can you tell us what transpired at this first appearance that you felt was relevant to include in your evidence?
Yes, Commissioners. On this day, it was the day that we refer to as a first appearance because it is the day when the suspect has been arrested, they will get charged, processed, and they will appear for the first time at the magistrate court. So this is the day when they appeared at Vereeniging Magistrate Court for their first appearance.
And who was present with you?
And in this appearance, all 5 members of the team, detectives that were present at the initial, very first crime scene in Bremdi, were all present. So that will mean it was myself, Witness B, and the 3 other members that we were with in the primary. That will be Sergeant Kosi, Sergeant Mabalane, and the member that called us and gave us instruction from the brigadier to attend the crime scene on the 17th.
You say in your statement that you were surprised by the show of support for the accused persons. Can you tell us more about that?
Yes, commissioners. When we arrived at the Vereeniging Magistrate Court, we found that the court was packed. It was packed and full to capacity. And then we learned as we were there that the people that were there to support the suspect, more especially Michael Puletau, as he was a police officer. So there were a lot of people that were there in support of him.
When you say people, are you referring to police officers?
Yes, we were informed that some of them were police officers, but we couldn't verify that because they were dressed in plain clothes like ourselves. You just get information from people that were briefing us that some of the people that were there were police officers, mostly from Johannesburg Central Police Station, who were then the colleagues of Michael Puletau at the time.
And can you describe the mood for us and the behavior of those people that were in attendance in support of the accused persons?
The mood was quite tense, and their behavior was not a normal behavior in a sense that they exhibited a behavior that will cause fear to us, like threat and all that, commissioners.
Can you be more specific what you mean by threats?
It is that the very same group, one of the very same group of people during the court adjournment, which is the recess, was seen trying to take pictures of us, and then we reported that to the members, our colleagues that were with, and then they attended to that situation.
Did you consider it to be unusual that they would try to take photos of you?
Yes, it is not usual. It is something that is not acceptable.
Okay, what else transpired? You say that you left court.
Sorry, commissioners.
Please proceed, witness A. I think I interrupted you. You were still explaining the conduct of the supporters.
Yes, then what transpired from there when we now left the court, because we came driving in 3 different state vehicles, unmarked state vehicles. And then when we left the court, we could see that there were a lot of people that were parked at the street in front of the court where our vehicles were parked. And then we went into our cars differently. I was driving alone, and then witness B was driving with the member that has given us a call from the brigadier. And the 2, which is Warrant Officer Mabalane and Sergeant Kosi, were driving in front, which then means that I was driving at the back as we left the court, driving back to our office. And as we were driving, just before we could leave Vereeniging town, I could see that there were people that were joining us, and then I could identify that some of the traffic that we were driving with were the cars that were parked in front of the court. And then I understood it understood that as the cars that would belong to the people that came to support the suspects. And as we drove along, I noticed that these guys were trying to drive us off the road. And then I called the members that were driving in front of me, which is now my colleagues, the investigating officers. Then I alerted them of what was happening. And then at that time, they told me that they were not aware. But then we decided that we needed to stop somewhere along the road and then discuss as to how we're going to go about this, because it was not a usual thing to happen. So we stopped like on the side of the road. Then we decided that we're not going to take the R59, which was a normal way that we would use when you're coming from Vereeniging coming to Johannesburg side. Then we decided to use an old Vereeniging route. And then we agreed to do that. And then that is what we did. But as we were driving on this old Vereeniging road, these vehicles kept driving with us. They will pass us, they will stop, then they will be at the back and all that. But we kept driving. At this particular time, they were now not driving us off the road. They were just driving with us as we moved.
Now, you say in your statement in paragraph 29 that you find that it's unusual or extremely unusual for civilian vehicles to follow police officers. Can you just elaborate on that and whether you thought that they were civilians at the time?
Yes, maybe before that, I will just have to explain this to the commission that when we came to the court, I was driving alone in the state vehicle. Then witness B, who is the investigating officer of this case, was driving alone in her vehicle. But seeing what was happening and her being female, we took a decision that she needed to have someone to drive with her, which is why now there were two in her vehicle. And I was still alone in my vehicle, just to give her support. And then coming back to the question that the commission has asked, can I ask it to be repeated? I've just forgotten.
Yes. So in paragraph 29 of your statement, you mention or you state that it is extremely unusual for civilian vehicles to follow police officers. I just want you to elaborate on that and then whether or not at the time you thought that they were civilians that were following you.
Yes, it is not a usual thing to see civilian following or intimidating, if I may put it that way, the police officers that are on duty. And then at that given moment, we thought that these people were civilian, even though if maybe they were police officers, but at that particular time, they were not on duty because I don't think that they worked that side. They would have been doing that not in the capacity of them being police officers. So we regarded to them as just civilian people doing what was abnormal to do to a police officer who is doing his job.
Okay,
which is why we took a decision to report it to our commanders as we got to the office.
And who did you report it to?
We reported it to our Brigadier Hopan, who is the head of Organized Crime Gauteng.
Sorry, Ms. Sickles. Witness A, perhaps let me take you back a bit just to make sure that I didn't mishear you. In paragraph 28, right at the end, the last sentence, where you speak about devising a plan to get rid of these vehicles that were following you, I understood you to say, and I'm just checking that, did I hear you properly, to say you decided to use the old Vereeniging road and these vehicles were still following you, but they were driving with you, but did not try to drive you off the road. Did I hear you properly?
That is correct, Commissioner.
So where the statement says they still followed us and tried to drive us off the road, that is not correct.
No, Commissioner, I think that one will be at when we left the court.
I see. Not on the new road, the alternative road that you took.
No, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Thank you for the clarification, Commissioner Baloyi. Witness A, you were dealing with the report to Brigadier Khopane about this incident, and in your report, in your statement, you say that it was not seriously pursued. What do you mean by that?
In my statement, I mean that it was not seriously pursued in a way that we were just told to be careful, which I mean it was just starters to say, be careful where you are driving. But we were giving more members to transport now the suspects from different courts. They were not using, because normally they will use the van from respective stations to courts, but it was not like that. It was, they were giving a dedicated team to transport them, seeing that there are, what is the word, high-profile suspects. And then initially we were told just to take care of our movements as we did our investigation or as we move to court.
Now, in your statement, you also say that the fact that it wasn't taken seriously or pursued seriously is not a criticism of Brigadier Khopane. And then you say that it's merely to indicate that it was one of those incidents that disturbed us, but not enough for us to escalate the matter beyond a verbal report to our commander. And you say this is because in any event, at the time that I suspected that it was just disgruntled colleagues of Tau who were upset that we had arrested one of their own. So I just want to find out from you, at that stage, was it just the Johannesburg Central police officers that were in attendance that day that had given you that sense that you, the unnerving sense, or was it spread throughout the SAPS at that stage?
Yes, Commissioners. At this stage, we understood it to be only concentrated to his colleagues at the stations, as we believed it. And then we treated it as such until much later that we saw that it is wider than that. So we were only concerned about it at that level.
Okay, and
you can complete if you're still dealing with this paragraph.
I wanted you to just then, I think Commissioner Baloyi and I had the same idea, for you to complete paragraph 30, and perhaps you can do it read it yourself, where it says, in my mind. Do you have it?
Yes.
Can you read it?
Then I was just saying, in my mind, I would not imagine a civilian doing something like what was done that day to a police officer that was doing their official duties.
Witness A,
And
only...
Yes, Commissioner.
Yes, you can complete your answer.
And then this was the beginning, as we understood it then, of the ongoing attempts that were done to the investigating team.
All right. Let me ask my question then. On this first appearance, were charges put to Mr. Dow? Sorry, I forget his title.
Warrant officer.
To Warrant Officer Tau, was it put to him what it is that he was being charged with?
Yes, all three of them, Commissioner.
So if you're correct that the people that were attempting to drive you off the road and following you, at that point they would have heard what the charge was that Warrant Officer Tau was accused of.
That would be the case because they were present at the court.
Yes, and so they would still have unnerved you and tried to drive you off the road, members of the SAPS knowing and having heard what he is accused of.
That is correct, Commissioner.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Siggles.
Thank you, Commissioner Baloy. Then, Witness A, if we can go to page 9 of your statement, you start a new topic there, and it is titled Initial Links to Katiso Molefe in the Swart Murder. Now, can you just elaborate on what was the basis for these links? How did it start out?
These links started out as the investigations continued in this matter. Initially, we had these 3 people that were arrested for the murder of Ahmad Swart. And then when we did our initial investigation in what will be termed as cell phone communication investigation, we could see that there was actually a person behind the murder who was high up and who was actually ordering the hit of Ahmad Swart. And then that person was initially identified as Katiso Molefe, who was then later arrested in this case.
Okay, can I just ask you, insofar as the cell phone records are concerned, what data did you have available to you to make these links, and from which cell phones are we talking about?
We had call data record and then tower locations of all 3 cell phones, actually all 5 cell phones that were recovered during the arrest. That will be the ones that were recovered in Bramley and the one that was recovered in Clipperfield. But the phone that came with a lot of information in as so far as linking Katiso Molefe was the phone of Michael Puletau, because it was seen on the records of his phone that it was him that was communicating a lot with Katiso Molefe.
Now, can I just ask you, insofar as the data is concerned, you mentioned in paragraph 33 of your statement that there was data analysis. You also refer to section 205 subpoenas. Can you just explain the difference between the two? Because there's a reference to downloaded information and section 205 obtained information.
Yes, commissioners. In our cell phone investigation, if I can just give a brief of what we do, we would, if we are lucky to have the number of the person that we are investigating, we will ask for the call record of the period that will suit the investigation to see who he was communicating with, maybe in the tower locations, which will be the movement of the phone in relation to the suspect as well. And then the other part will be downloading the data from the actual phone, which will then mean that you take the phone to the expert to download the data for you, and then they give you the raw data from which you will have to analyze and take it from there in as far as doing your linkages.
Okay, and before we go to some of those linkages, you do say that you don't want to go into too much detail. This is at paragraph 33 of your statement, so as not to compromise the integrity of the ongoing investigation. I assume this is on the same basis as earlier on, that the matter is still in court. Am I correct?
That is correct, Commissioners.
And if we can also give context to the information that we're about to look at, this is just insofar as the information that was available to the team in early May 2024. So you're not speaking about information at this point, but as what you had at that time in May 2024.
That's correct, Commissioners.
Okay, can we then start with what is set out in paragraph 33.1 of your statement, where you deal with the links that you could see on the 12th of April, from information on the 12th of April 2024, which would have been 5 days before the murder. And we are, in this regard, Commissioners, referring to the information at WA1 of the statement, which starts at page 42, and we will also project the redacted version, but yours is not redacted. And witness A, if I could, we're going to screen share, if I could ask you to only deal with the version that is on the screen, because that's the redacted version. And the first is that you say on the 12th of April 2024, 5 days before the murder, 1, Tau receives a call from Mr. Katiso Molefe at 11:36. There's a duration of 119 seconds. And 2, he makes a call, this is Tau, makes a call to Molefe at 11:43 of a duration of 14 seconds and arrives at Molefe, this is Tau, arrives at Molefe's home shortly thereafter at 12:36. Now, before you go to what's on the screen, can I just ask you, how did you know that that is Molefe's number if you didn't have his cell phone at the time?
Yes, Commissioner. Before we could start and doing our applications and maybe phone downloads and everything in terms of doing a cell phone communication investigation, we will do our background check, and then which is where we get the information that we will call the intelligent information. So at the background, we already had Katiso Molefe's cell phone number.
So you were able to establish that when we're talking about the data on 12 April 2024, that it was sent and received from a Mr. Katiso Molefe based on the number, not just on the name that is saved as Katiso Molefe on the phone. You actually verified that the number is his number.
Yes, the number suits the number that we had for our intelligent purposes.
Okay, thank you. Can we now proceed?
Can we, I'm very sorry, can we take a 5-minute adjournment for something urgent we want to attend to? Let's adjourn.
All right, so there you have it then. Just a quick adjournment out of the blue, something urgent has come up. Commissioner Matlanga not really being clear in terms of what it is that is so urgent that has interrupted the day's proceedings. But hopefully we'll hear more about it later on as the hearings continue. So for now, it looks like then that's where the Commission is going to pause its work. It does seem that we can expect them to continue with evidence later on today. All of it barring the urgency that has resulted in this call made by Commissioner Matlanga. And remember that we're hearing now from witnesses who are employees, members of the SAPS. Witness A being an investigator, and he was involved in the murder of engineer in Vereeniging Amand Swart. And he basically has been talking about the work that they found, and I think really getting then now to the heart of the issue in terms of who was involved allegedly in organizing the hit and how ultimately this relates back to the SAPS and the allegations that Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi made. So we're going to leave it there with the Commission for now. We will, however, take a quick break, and then what we will do on the other side of the break is that we will bring you the book reading.
SAFM has signed a code of conduct that is enforced by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission of South Africa. Under the code, we are committed to giving news that is accurate, comment that is fair, and programming that is not harmful, does not amount to hate speech, or contain violence or explicit sex. If you think we are not living up to that code, then you can inform the Broadcasting Complaints Commission of South Africa. Direct any complaints in writing to the Broadcasting Complaints Commission of South Africa. PO Box 142365. Craig Hall 2024. Fax to 011-326-3198 or an email to bccsa@nabsa.co.za. For more information, please visit www.bccsa.co.za.
Please note that the views expressed in this book are not that of the station. Listeners' discretion is advised. SFM presents another episode of the book Boardroom Dancing by Nolita Fakude, read by Vuyokazi Tere.
Based on the experiences of our trainee cohort as well as other Black colleagues, I helped design the Diversity Culture Program module, which was part of Woolworth's broader training program to help staff better understand and handle issues around diversity and transformation. Lord. The module we designed gave staff a platform to discuss issues like the fact that all the signage in our stores was printed only in English and Afrikaans, and that African languages were exclusively used for signs explaining that management did not have the keys to the safe or that there were no jobs available. In the main, we were trying to bust the seriously patronizing myths that were the narrative of the day regarding Black people. Because developing the module was not a full-time job, Dave also asked me to take on new full-time position of Community Affairs Manager. Luba. The first thing I did was go through those letters, which were applications for funding from various communities across the country. Next, I began a benchmarking exercise, reviewing annual reports from other well-developed social responsibility programs, studying their frameworks, what they were
Thank you,
doing,
Commissioners.
and how much they were spending. Combining the knowledge with an examination of the areas of need across the country, I targeted 3 core areas: education, the environment, and job creation. Then I developed a strategic framework for Woolworths to establish the systems and processes of a CSR program focused on those core areas of the 3 Ps: people, planet, and profits. To augment our relatively limited CSR funds, I initiated an employee volunteering program, creating community affairs committed in each division and/or store, employees identified as community projects that addressed at least one of the 3 focus areas. They then adopted a project for which they raised funds, matching rand for rand. Whatever the committee raised, we leveraged our CSR program to get colleagues working together as teams, creating more internal cohesion while also getting our staff to engage externally with what was happening in the communities around them, all while raising funds for worthy projects. Much fun was had by all, and with the teams raising thousands of rand through creative campaigns, the program became a flagship, especially at head office. As I progressed up the ladder, I found myself increasingly in a position where I needed to uphold the organization's values. This was easy to do because the highest leadership at Woolworths consistently did the same. Colin Hall was chairman of the board during the period when I worked for HR in training and development, through to the time when I moved to corporate affairs. Placing a huge emphasis on values, Colin actively used his role as chairman to promote his insights about our shared African values, traditions, and languages. To pull us together as South Africans, doing our part in nation building, Colin continually encouraged everyone in the organization to demonstrate the value of Ubuntu, the African concept that proclaims, I am what I am because of who we all are. He also liked to invoke Siriti, a Sotho concept that translates as shadow, but carries a much deeper meaning based on the understanding that each person casts a unique shadow and the importance of acknowledging others for who they are. The closest English translation would be dignity or integrity, although neither would fully capture the idea. It was incredibly powerful to see the chairman of a company like Woolworths using that language and context and narrative at that time. Colin was a key thought leader in the country and an influencer in society, and his choice to promote African values in this way among his peer group demonstrated how a top leader can use his networks to change society at different levels. A big fan of Stephen Covey's The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Colin had purchased the rights to run Covey workshops in South Africa. Most of us in HR, myself included, became master trainers of the Covey program, facilitating free workshops in the company and for the community leaders and school principals with whom we had relationships with through our CSR engagements. Through those engagements, we had the pleasure of working with a school principal by the name of Mr. A.I. Witten, headmaster of Zerolde Park Primary School in Lavender Hill Retreat. 2 years after our work together, A.I. decided to further his studies on school administration and leadership. Winning a scholarship, he completed his PhD at Harvard University in the USA. Years later, he returned to South Africa as a guest of the Human Resources Development Council's chair, then Deputy President of South Africa, Dr. Phumzile Mlambo-Ngcuka, who had committed to work with the school's principals in the country. Chapter 5: Embracing Democracy. By 1993, politically and socially, the mood in the country, and as we felt it in Cape Town, was palpably changing. As South Africa hurtled towards the first democratic elections, set for April 1994, Cape Town-based organizations from the city of Cape Town to the big oil and insurance companies were all recruiting black professionals, and a vibrant black community was growing in the business, political, and social spaces. It was during one of the many discussions we held as black people about the progress Woolworths was and was not making that someone suggested that we should join the Black Management Forum. Joe Mwase brought us the membership forms. Founded in 1976, The Black Management Forum was established as a non-racial organization to support and develop management and leadership among Black professionals. I began attending meetings in late 1993, and right from the start, I found the open discussions and debates about the challenges Black people faced at work refreshing and robust. After attending for about 6 months, I decided to pay my membership fees and become an active member. Unlike the other Black professional organizations, the BMF is not specific to any one profession and has consistently had members from across different professions and areas of management.
There was another episode of the book Boardroom Dancing by Nolita Fakude, read by Vuyokazi Tebe. The book is available online and in all leading bookstores countrywide. It is broadcast on SAFM at 11:45 Monday to Thursdays on The Talking Point. The book is produced for the station by Vovi Patala, read by Vuyokazi Tebe. Technical production, Wiseman Manwele, Nanda Koza, and Tato Mapuru.
It's 12 o'clock on Monday, the 20th of October, 2025. A very warm welcome to Updated Noon here on SAFM. Leading the conversation, I'm Sakina Kamwendo. Coming up in the next hour,
we could see that there was actually a person behind the murder who was high up and who was actually ordering the hit of Amar Swart. And then that person was initially identified as Katiso Mulifi.
the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry investigating allegations of criminality, political interference and corruption in the criminal justice system has resumed proceedings in Pretoria, and judgment has been reserved in the bail application of alleged underworld kingpin Vusmuzi Kat Matlala at the Johannesburg High Court. Please share your views with us. 41391 is the SMS line number. You'll be charged R150 per SMS. You can also get in touch via X at SABC News_radio, or you can send us a WhatsApp voice note on 082-692-3909. Well, these and more stories are coming your way on this Monday edition of Updated Noon. First, though, here's the latest news with Kulufelo Tefo.
Thanks, Sakina. Top stories at 12. Detectives give evidence at Madlanga Commission, and SANDF soldier accused of shooting his son in Limpopo. Good afternoon. Witness A, who is testifying before the Madlanga Commission in Pretoria, has detailed how the murder of Vereeniging-based engineer Ahmad Swart helped their team to crack related cases. Swart was shot 23 times in April last year after exposing corruption at Transnet. Witness A is testifying remotely, however their voice is audible. They are one of 3 detectives whose testimony will be based on their investigation on criminal cartels.
And then I will go on and say, as this murder occurred, it was also learned that there were other cases